Good morning, everybody. April Fool's Day, April the 1st. Time to kick off a new quarter and a new trading month this Friday, and we face a lot of news. Non-farm payrolls, 210. Unemployment, 4.9, unchanged. Private non-farm payrolls, 200K. The default, plus 0.2 in earnings. The work week went up by an hour, 34.5. That would support an improving job climate. People being hired. Some of the headlines this morning are, people going back to work, people coming out of the woods looking for work. PMI manufacturing, 51.7. ISM, 50.5. China's official manufacturing ISM index went over 50% today, so everybody's really giddy about the improved economy in China. Consumer sentiment at 90.9, which is usually a surrogate for the stock market. Construction spending, plus 0.2. Nobody will pay any attention to it. And vehicle sales at 17.6, a very, very strong number. Anything over 16 million, the industry prospers. The automobiles continue to fly off the shelves, so to speak, or drive off the shelves as it stands. Had a hard time getting that one out, didn't I? So the number one news focus, non-farm payrolls. Number 2, the unemployment rate. Number 3 will be ISM. Number 4 will be consumer sentiment, and then vehicle sales, which should all be out and in by noon Eastern. So here we are. Now, 100 government officials know this news the afternoon before it hits, so they can write their speeches. Our government is staffed by future Citibank employees, Bank of America employees, Goldman Sachs. The Fed Reserve Treasury is packed with those people. They work in most major agencies and departments, so the ability of the 5 banks deemed too large to fail to ferret out this news is usually pretty good. A number less than 200 should rally treasuries. This number at 210 to 220 should hurt treasuries. We are at resistance, and this market has rallied into this number, so the trade with the most potential is setting a short before the news. Looking at where resistance might lie, 16 to 20. So this is our first band if we didn't have news, and we'd be selling failure to take that out. Given the news, 5/8 of a point, 3/4 of a point, so 20 to 24 ticks above where the market, or below where the market is at the news release. So 20 ticks above 14 would take us basically pretty close to the buck. So selling a resting limit sell at 30.31, maybe 31.03, somewhere in that area. For the news would be a good place to put that order. Without that news, we'd be selling 16s to 20s, and then 23s to 27. So the news trade would be 31 to 03, assuming the news hits the market at 13. And then on the buy side, you would be at in the 29, 24, 28 area on the buy side for news trade. Without the news, we'd be buying 5s to 9s, trying to get in, and then 29s to 1. Spread is steady overnight. So down to the news. Okay, Nancy has tasked me to come up with a different thing on the bonds, and she's right. The fact of the matter is, though, that our number one support and resistance points are important in our hierarchy, and they help us make our decisions. And our decisions are based on 1, 2, 3 resistance, 1, 2, 3 support. So if a number one support level holds, we should get to number 2. So we always like our trades better at number 2 than we do at number 1. Number 1 means that the market might continue. So here's my dilemma right out here as a trader. Right now, by golly, resistance is at 24 to 28. And there's no way to get around it. I mean, you can just see it right there on the charts. So without news, we'd be selling failure to take out 20 to 24. Okay, adding a point right now, the news trade would be 65.17 on the sell side, 63, and sometimes it can go a point and a half, 0.58, 63.17 on the buy side. So letting them get stops above this level takes us up basically to the 28.65 area. So sell 1 will be basically against 65, sell 2, 7s to 11s. And on the buy side, we have really pretty good support. We have a X low at 13. We've got a V low at 8. We've got an S low at 03. So 4 to 8 would be at number 1. Actually, this is how we're going to do this. And so we put our buy at 29 to 01. And then 17 to 21 for buy 2. And hopefully this will get around our problem, because I have the same problem Nancy does and everybody else does, is these number 1 points get blown through in a blink of an eye. They're not very good support or resistance with any kind of news. So we'll move to our number 2 points, and we'll see if we can if I can make this work for a while. And hopefully that'll solve everybody's problems. Okay, at 1 point above wherever the market is trading when the news hits, 1 point above and below is the news trade. Okay, gold was pretty quiet, off a little bit overnight, not a lot, but off nonetheless. And we're going to hit the news kind of right in the middle in this 35 area. We know there's a seller above 45. We know there's pretty good buying below 25 as it stands right now, kind of a 20. And you can see that we have been in the 34, 35 area, kind of right in the middle of that. So without the news and $15 above and below wherever the market's trading before the news is a good place for a scoop order. So right now, Resistance is 35.37, sell 1, and 40 to 42, sell 2. Support 25.27, buy 1, and then 18 to 20, buy 2. Trying to get down into this area, right into here on our second buy. Down to the news. Okay, today, because of the news and the volatility associated with it, it's a good day. This is a day you strategize. What happens if non-farm payrolls come in greater or lower in this number for the contracts that you trade? And what am I going to do if it comes in higher? What am I going to do if it comes in lower? And that's where you have to shift your thinking to make a go of it these days. Okay, the news if-as forecast should take the euro lower, it should take gold lower, it should take treasuries lower. Fundamentally, it should take the E-mini and crude higher. But crude has been hurt overnight. Saudi Arabia came out and said, we're not going to cut our production unless Iran cuts their production. And for almost the entire life of OPEC, Iran has never cut their production. They produced every bit that they can. They've cheated around the edges. Right now they're saying, given the hardship that we've had in the market, it's unfair for you to think of us cutting our production. We have to maximize our oil sales to rebuild our economy. They're not mentioning the gift of $150 billion. Plus, every month or every week we wake up to new payments to Iran by the United States, and they gave us nothing in return. So if you ever wanted an administration to negotiate with, unless you're a political opponent, this is the one. Okay, first sell 45.1450, 75 for sell 2 without news. On the buy side without news, we'd be trying to buy the 25 area and then the buck. This market usually doesn't run 100 ticks on our big news events. It'll do it when Draghi speaks, so maybe 50, 25 ticks above or below where the news hits. We'll come back and we'll take a look at that after it's done. I honestly don't have an answer for that. Haven't watched it at the news like I do the others. Okay, crude oil. Saudi Arabia probably they're putting pressure on Iran for this Doha meeting in April, and trying to get some signs that Iran got to cut the production too if we're going to get the pricing that we want. And so again, because of the supply, on a day-to-day basis, crude does what it's going to do, but longer term, you're looking for places to short it. And I believe the trading target now is 35. And we'll probably hit it before Doha to give Iran and other people that cheat around the edges to a chance to pump as much as they can, and a chance to be reminded that too has consequences. So we've gotten a move right out of the middle of this area. You can see where volume is. You can see where S is, where S started us lower. So the first band of resistance is, give it a little room here, 75 to 38, but it may take 50s to get into. And then 38 and a quarter, 38.50 for sell 2. On the buy side, I think they're going for stops below 37, so 36.75, 37 buy 1. And then 36 and a quarter, 36.50 buy 2. Like the short side of crude. The numbers, if as forecast, are supportive for crude. More people going back to work, more people driving, demand going up. Okay, on the E-mini, scoop orders, 10 points, plus or minus 10 points for where the market is at the news. It can move more than that, but usually that'll contain that first move, 10 to 12 points. And that's somebody taking profits at $500 that had the gumption to take a position into the news. And so right now, if the market was trading a couple of seconds before the news was announced, you'd put a limit sell in at 51.5 and a buy at 31.5. Without the news, you can see we got a very, very clean break in the market at 50. So without the news, you'd be selling 49s, 51s, then 54, 59. On the buy side, last rotate down the other day was at 34, so we're close enough. So I would think that 35, 37 buy one. Given the, I'm going, we'll and then 25 to 30 buy two. And that 25 number is probably a pretty good number. The key for this rally to continue and hold the longs in the market and have a shot at new contract highs for whatever the reason is if this 20-30 area, that low volume number holds. April is a month where the market does see selling. People liquidate stocks, etc., to pay for capital gains. So it's traditionally a month that sideways, sometimes lower, and then there's that old adage, sell in May and come back in the fall. Some years that works pretty well, some years it doesn't. As with everything. Okay, it's going to take some time to get everything up and posted. We went a little bit long because of the news this morning. We'll see you in 21 minutes. See what the news brings in a bit.